Do I need a cargo van? No. No, I do not. Do I want one after spending a few days with this Mercedes-Benz Metris? Yes. Yes, I do, and I'll tell you why. It's because it is the perfect platform upon which to build something fun and awesome. There's a lot of room back there for activities, and I like mountain biking, and I can picture using one of these to haul bikes to and from trails all over Southern California and beyond in comfort, with ease. And if you really want to spend the dough, you could camp in this thing. Put a little sleeper space in it and give it a go. So what is the Metris? Well, the Mercedes-Benz Metris is something that started life in Europe. I believe this was related to the Viano. It's the V-Class or whatever they call it over there. Here the Metris comes as a passenger van or a cargo van. The cargo van starts at around $34,000. The passenger van starts at around $37,000. Now this is a 2019 model year vehicle. We're already past that. Mercedes-Benz has a 2021 version coming out, which is nicely upgraded. On the outside, it's going to look mostly the same. I think they changed the grille a bit. All of them, though, are powered by a turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, which doesn't sound like much, but it makes 208 horsepower, which is good, and 258 pounds of torque, which is also good. And when it is unladen, there's not a lot of weight over those rear wheels, and hypothetically, it would be very easy to do brake stands in this vehicle because it is rear-wheel drive, hypothetically. Now this is the 2019, so it has a 7-speed gearbox. For 2021, they jump it up to a 9-speed gearbox, but more importantly, this has a little 5-inch dated Mercedes-looking display. It looks like the older, it's the command system, but like a real chintzy version of it. I mean, which is fine in a cargo van, but going forward, they added a bigger screen that gets Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I think it's 7 inches, this one's 5. The Bluetooth is said to connect faster than this system. So it's just simple upgrades to make someone who has to use this day in and day out, it makes their life a bit better. But for me, daydreaming about van life stuff, this thing is awesome. The rear load floor is super low. It's easy to get my bike in and out. I'm not dealing with a dirt bike, so it's not like a huge struggle there. Anyway, my bike is sitting behind me right now because I rode it this morning. The seating position is nice and high, and because you're higher up, top of the door here is lower than you're used to because you're sitting higher up, and it reminds me of how cars used to be before crash protection was more important than it is. So you're still protected, but because you're sitting higher up, this can be lower. And then the glass in front of me is wide open. It's easy to see. There are cameras and sensors so you can park this thing. I've had my dog in it because I have a dog again. And we've gone to the dog park in it, and she likes it. She had to sit up front, which normally I would never do in a vehicle, but she'd be sliding around like crazy back there, and I'm not gonna put her leash on one of those D-rings. But that is a perfect segue to let you know that the load floor has tons of D-rings to secure stuff. Now this is a totally empty one. If you were gonna buy these for a company, there are upfitters that you can contact right through Mercedes website and go from there. You see the Metris running around. It's alongside the Nissan NV, the Ford Transit, the Ram ProMaster City, vehicles like that. Now, I think all of those are good at the jobs they have to do. It's when you step up to the bigger vans where maybe the competition starts to separate itself a little further. Mercedes has dominated the van life world with the Sprinter. They offer the all-wheel drive version. They offer crosswind protection. Actually, for 2021, the Metris also gets automatic crosswind correction as well, which was only, a big van thing. They're putting it on the little van, which is kind of cool. That actively keeps you from getting blown around if it's gusty. I've driven it in a Sprinter. I've experienced it in a Sprinter, and it's actually pretty cool. But getting back to the bigger stuff, the Sprinter was like the go-to Instagram superstar van life machine. I really think the upcoming Transit all-wheel drive could etch away at that because you have Ford, so it's going to start less expensively. It's going to start cheaper than the Mercedes. It's going to have all-wheel drive, like the Sprinter has had for a while now, but it's also going to have that 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost engine, which is more exciting than the engines in the Mercedes. So if we were fully daydreaming on a real deal van life, let's go spend some time on the road, the Transit all-wheel drive EcoBoost would be the one I'd be eyeing. But for like an around town weekend warrior excursion shuttle, I think the Metris is one hell of a place to start in terms of a basic building block. One, because I like Mercedes. So this thing does look good for the van class. They've done a nice job. I would want to get it the front bumper painted. You see these all the time in cargo spec with the unpainted front bumper, which doesn't bug me, but I would want to get this. I photoshopped one online because they offer, there's a version in green, which I really like. I would throw some wheels on it, some knobby tires, maybe try to give it a little bit of a lift. You got to get some light bars on there for the cool cred, but I would want to turn this into something I could take camping for the weekend. And I fully spec'd one of these out how I would order it from Mercedes, and it was $39,000, which is a lot of money for a vehicle that you're going to use on the weekends and sparingly. But if you're in the market and able to do such a thing, that's a good way to look. I know the Transit can be had for cheaper, but again, it's not a Mercedes. I really like, I kind of miss my Benz. Hopefully someday my other Benz will be finished, and which is the douchiest sounding thing I've ever said, unless you knew about those two Benzes. So this is great. The seats are comfortable. It looks good on the outside. It has useful space behind me. I like it a lot, and I'd love to see the upgrades for 2021 to get better sound system, more comfort features, more things to make the driving less fatiguing in terms of that crosswind correction, and improved safety features and stuff like that. I'm sure the 9-speed automatic is better on fuel economy. I like that it's rear-wheel drive. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of this thing. This is a sweet machine. I like the pattern on the seats. I'm gonna have to wash where my dog drooled a little bit on the passenger airbag and got her nose on the mirror and got her hair on the passenger seat. Sorry, Mercedes, I will clean that up before I give it back to you. This one lends itself to shenanigans if you have a dumb mind like I do, because it is rear-wheel drive. Let's just test the acceleration. I mean, we're not winning any awards, but since we have an empty cargo van, it gets up and gets out of its own way. But it could be a rear-wheel drive, mountain bike hauling, weekend warrior camping rig that kicks serious ass if you dress it up really nicely. And I think that's possible. And I just wish I had the dough to do it, because I do not. I do not have that kind of money. And my Montero serves that purpose right now anyway. The only thing is, I'm not camping in my Montero. The bike goes on the outside, which doesn't bother me, but if I was to go camping with my bike, I would like to be able to lock it up inside the vehicle. I would like to be able to just, you shut the doors in this, you lock it, and if you have the cargo van, then you also you have less glass to be broken into. So you can have a nicely secure machine that is prepped for adventure. And I really, really like that notion. I like the paint color on this one. It's almost like Porsche's chalk in a way, kind of stretching, but whatevs. But if you are flush with cash and looking to set out on a van life adventure starting with a blank platform, this is a good place to start. The Transit will be cheaper, the ProMaster City will be cheaper, the Nissan NV will be cheaper, but none of them, I think, could be as cool when you're done. The Ford could. The ProMaster just has been hit with the ugly stick, and the Nissan is probably just trailing all the rest in that category. Except the full-size Nissan NV, I will say this, the full-size Nissan NV with the 5.6 when it's empty hauls ass. I drove that years ago on the launch, which they held in Miami, which I wasn't complaining about at the time. And God, I would love to get on a plane and go to Miami right now. And that is not happening for some time. But back to what I said. If you have money and the means and are looking to create a cool rig, I mean, the Metris seems like a pretty badass choice. I'm talking about a van and I just called it badass. I love this thing. Back up a little bit because it's hot as. Hashtag van life.